Hayaka. Good morning, honored guests, treasured community members near and far. My name is Zephanie Smith-Eisenstadt, and I am an advocate, supporter, national board member of the NAACP Foundation, and formerly the U.S. United Nations Association. On behalf of the Nagasaki Planning Committee, we welcome you and invite you to please stand for the blowing of the pu'u. What you're witnessing now is a special procession led by the Royal Order of Kamehameha I, Hawaii Chapter 1. You've also heard the blowing of the conch shell by Kahu Leticia Ku'ulelani Castellanos. And once they're seated, we'll begin the next portion of our opening protocol program with a pulewehe offered by Kahu Loko'olu Quintero of the Hawaiian Church of the Hawaiʻi. Thank you so much for the resonant tones of the pu'u, and I ask that you all remain standing through the singing of the anthems. Kahu Loko'olu, please join me at the podium now to offer an opening prayer.
Malama ua hele ka naka aya I luna ua kai o ka ho kaula ka ho kale. Now I hoara pua vuri pua vekea moa kani moa hini mahiki na kau leli kalani. O wau ka liu e heaka. O ki aka no ya mai ka hiki ku, mai ka hiki moi, mai ka hiki kapa kapa ue kane. Ea ka pule ka wai oha. He ana ya we te atua. E ola no e. Aloha. The two pule that I performed for you this morning, one was Noho'ana. It's a chant of protection. May we all be protected. That is important for what we are commemorating today. Protection for the people, the survivors, the next generation. The second chant I did for you is E alo wa'au. It is a pule la mai kai, a blessing of a good day. May today be a good day. Aloha.
And mahalo, Kumi. Let us continue to stand, if able, and sing together our anthems that reflect our intertwined histories. The anthems will begin now. The lyrics to the music and the program for today have been uploaded to the UNA website, and those who registered online and in person received an email with those links this morning. And now for Kimigayo. And finally, the Star-Spangled Banner. Mahalo, Ms. Obana at the piano, and you may now be seated. On behalf of the Hawaii Nagasaki Planning Committee, we welcome you to our 32nd Peace Ceremony commemorating the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima here at the Honolulu Mayor's Mission Memorial Auditorium on the grounds of City Hall in Honolulu, Hawaii, a space of civic unity and remembrance. We'd also like to extend a heartfelt greeting to those of us who are joining us from around the world via live stream and forevermore through the live recording. Whether you're here today with us in Honolulu, joining us in person, or streaming in from across the ocean, we are gathered here today as one global community for peace. So once again, mahalo nui loa. Thank you so very much for participating live with us this morning. And those who are watching, we invite you to share your live link with others so that they may watch as well. Those who are here in the room, it's not too late to send someone a text and let us know they can meet us at the Nagasaki Peace Bell in a couple of hours. And though phones are silenced here in the auditorium, you may pull them out now to share with others and to respond to an invitation that will be offered by our next speaker. To share the spirit behind today's ceremony, please join me in welcoming Joanne Tachibana, President of the United Nations Association of Hawaii's Honolulu chapter. As she makes her way to the podium, I want to acknowledge all of the UNA members who are here in the audience today and watching online. Not only has Joanne led a distinguished career in public service, having worked many years just across the way here at City Hall, but her commitment to community truly extends through those years of service that she's put in as a chapter leader of the U.S. United Nations Association. So a point of personal privilege to you, Joanne. We are just so grateful for the labor of love that you pour into our important shared missions and this wonderful and important commemoration each year. Thank you.
Thank you, Zephanie, for that wonderful introduction. Aloha and welcome to our audience here and on viewers worldwide. Briefly, for the past 32 years, the United Nations Association, our motto, Uniting the World with Aloha, has been a partner in the Nagasaki Peace Committee annual commemorations on August 9th. At the little-known Nagasaki Peace Bell on the grounds of City Hall. Today, on the 80th anniversary of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, our dream to reach a global audience is coming true. Thanks to the generous sponsorship of the president and founder of the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation, Audrey Kitagawa. So, on behalf, we are so grateful. Thank you. Today, our local program here at the Mayor's Mission Auditorium, as well, and the second part will be at the actual Nagasaki Peace Bell. And this, for the first time, will be witnessed by our global viewers. Thank you to Audrey Kitagawa's professional tech team who have worked hard with our MOCA manager, David Stone. Our hearts are joyous and grateful. Thank you. So, all right. Let me, excuse me. My beloved partner, Marsha Rose Joyner, a pioneer of the Martin Luther King Association of Villermo's, who passed away through the years, their efforts have brought the bell, Nagasaki Bell, to Oahu. The history of the bell will be shared very shortly. But let me share our keynote project, which is called a Sunflower for Peace project. As I was doing research, I came across a book entitled Choose Hope. It was written by my SGI mentor, President Daisaku Ikeda, and David Krieger from the Nuclear Foundation. On the cover of the book is a beautiful sunflower, one of our favorite flowers, and it made us happy to gaze upon that book and its cover, okay? And in the program, we've written about our Sunflower Project, but a little highlight from there, that in 1996, at the closing ceremony in Chernobyl, Ukraine, the site of a horrendous nuclear disaster, Admiral Perry stated, "Sunflowers instead of missiles will lead to peace." What did they mean by that? They planted sunflower plants. They also used sunflower seeds. Why? Because sunflowers have the unique capability to detoxify nuclear waste in the ground. When we read that, Marcia and I, we said, wow, we have to get this message to our students and the community. So we created coloring books, color pages with sunflowers and peaceful sayings, okay? And I have extra pages in the back table in case you would like to take a sample home. These are the ones that children's colored. We took these pages to Children and Youth Day for about over 10 years. We went to different schools and letting the people know that the sunflower isn't just beautiful and yellow to make you smile and feel peaceful, but it has a deeper meaning, okay? So that's been our stimulus to create this Hawaii Sunflower Project. An international copper artist, Surya Kumar, was so touched by our project that at his Mauna Art and Culture Center in Waianae on Oahu, he has created a sunflower garden for our community, and we're most welcome to see him, to go there. So thank you, beloved Surya. And here I want to share the thoughtful irony of the history of 1945, 80 years ago. On August 6th, Hiroshima, the bomb shocked the world. Then 2 days later, our President Truman signed the United Nations Charter. So after the shock of the first atomic bomb, we said, wow, we're going to have peace now because we have the United Nations, right? But unbeknownst to the world, he already had approved the second bombing, in Hiroshima. So the next day, another hellish bombing hit Japan. So we began to embrace the motto, no more Hiroshima and no more Nagasaki. And we keep that in our hearts. In closing, I'd like to say that thank you all for participating today. But join us, actions small or large, plant sunflowers and share its message. Be an advocate for a non-nuclear world. Let our Nagasaki peace bell resonate in your hearts. And on behalf of the Hawaii Nagasaki Committee, we thank you for being here today. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Excuse me. Before I leave the stage, I have, you see in front of us, we have the 80, the two balloons with 80, right? Okay. We found that because it's so significant that the 80th anniversary is happening right now. And so we wanted to ask if there were, just for a moment of recognition, that if anyone has turned 80 this year in our audience, or 80 on the line, online, if you can put it in the chat. I think Mr. Iguchi-san said he turned 80 this year. So that's, anyone else turned 80 this year? Otherwise. Oh my gosh. Yes, look, a wonderful Baha'i sister. Thank you. You know, I mean, so this is a turning point year. So I wanted to acknowledge this wonderful statement. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. This was it.
Thank you so much, Joanne. As she's leaving, why don't you all, we lift all voices in the room. At the count of 3, why don't we just say a mahalo to Joanne? 1, 2, 3. Mahalo. 32 years we have gathered for this auspicious occasion, and it's my understanding that she's the last of the original planning committee members for this, so we are so grateful to her and all of our partner organizations. Indeed, those of you who are joining us for the first time, we'd like for you to consider supporting our partner organizations, including the United Nations Association and the many cultural, educational, and faith-based groups that are here with us today. If you are here in person, hopefully you didn't miss the wonderful exhibit prepared by our UNA volunteers. And as mentioned by Joanne before we began the live stream, please do sign in at the clipboard to let us know you were here and to stay connected. Those who are watching online, you can connect with us through unahawaii.org website and through social media. Our journey this morning will continue with a moment of inspiration, and this is our opening keynote address titled Our Collective Healing. We are so honored to welcome a scholar of ancestral wisdom and systemic change, a voice for cultural healing and indigenous knowing. That is none other than Dr. Manulani Aluli-Meyer, belovedly referred to as Auntie Manu. She is dedicated to the role and purpose of wisdom traditions, philosophies, and principles in helping heal cultural and historic trauma. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Alana kahi amoe lana mali a oia io he io kumu he io lau he io lono a ke aloha e ho ulu mai e ho ulu mai e ho ulu e kavelina a ke aloha Maloko ne, mavaho ne, aloha. He inoa no Nagasaki. Aloha mai kākoa pāo e ku'umahoa. Blessings for this day, blessings for this capacity to be present, blessings for Elua Ka'au, 2 units of perfect offering, 40. It is a profound understanding that we are meant to learn, to understand, and to receive this blessing of remembrance. Because on that day, life changed again and again. So what is the purpose of conflict? It is to awaken. That is the mutual contradiction today of listening to the American anthem and being present at this remembrance. We call that mutual contradiction. So in that mutual contradiction comes the actual impetus of change. Fear or love. And we choose aloha. Maloko nei mo waho nei. It has always been about mo ike aloha. My friend Pulama Collier of Maui has taught us that a synonym for Hawaiian intelligibility is mo ike aloha. We show the genesis of our knowledge through the wellspring of divine infinity, and that is through loving. So, you know, this is the aloha spirit, the state of aloha, and we mean it. And this is what I get from Elua Ka'aho today. That was an offering, of a perfect offering for us to understand the purpose of conflict. Fear or aloha. No future, continuity. My work is in the field of indigenous epistemology, and a synonym, of course, is mo'ike aloha, but it is also continuity. What is the purpose of our life? It's now to evolve. Conflict is the midwife of this evolution. And today we are humbled with the severity of that lesson. Humbled that it is brought from Hawaii to the world, and we feel this evolution. In my heart, I feel it. I see it and feel it in every single one of you, including on YouTube. That's effulgent expansion, and that only happens through love, not money, through loving. So we're gonna just sing this for a moment, and it means aloha, and aloha in effulgent processes of expansion. So we say aloha no. So let's sing this together. E aloha e aloha no. 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 E aloha e aloha no.
A heartfelt mahalo, that is thank you for your words of wisdom. enlightenment, and the moment of connection that we've shared, Auntie Manu. We acknowledge all of the faith communities, civil society organizations, and state and city governments that have come together to support this 80th commemorative anniversary of the bombing. And with the history, you now know why there are so many sunflowers. We are especially grateful to the Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts team for arranging the use of this beautiful auditorium here on the grounds of City Hall, and to bring greetings on behalf of our mayor here in the city and county of Honolulu. Please join me in welcoming Deputy Managing Director Krishna Jayaram to join me at the podium now, immediately followed by a message from the Nagasaki Mayor, Shiro Suzuki, translated by our Nagasaki Planning Committee member, Steve Terada. Thank you for being here with us, Krishna.
Good morning and aloha. On behalf of Mayor Blangiardi, it's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to welcome you all to Mission Memorial Auditorium for the 32nd Annual Nagasaki Peace Ceremony, and 80 years since the end of the war. Earlier this week, Mayor Blangiardi was in Japan at the invitation of the Hiroshima mayor. For those of you who might know, this is actually his first and only international trip. He's always focused on home. But given the year that it is, he felt it was important to be there. And we're incredibly proud to host this event here as well. Nagasaki and Honolulu share a very painful history as the beginning and end of the war that had catastrophic consequences for Nagasaki. But out of that, we have a wonderful bond with the city. We have a wonderful Nagasaki Kenjinkai, and we have a beautiful bell that was given to the city and county, or the people of the city and county, by the people of Nagasaki. And so on behalf of the mayor, we stand here today to honor the lives lost, to hope for peace for those lives lost. And as Dr. Myers said in her wonderful keynote, that we stand here in aloha. So a very big thank you to the organizing committee, to Joanne Tachibana. Thank you, Dr. Myers, for your words. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Message from the mayor, Nagasaki mayor. I would like to offer this message on behalf of the people of Nagasaki on the occasion of the 32nd Nagasaki Peace Ceremony, the Honolulu Peace Bell Ceremony. To all of those on the executive committee and people involved in this ceremony, I would like to express my deepest respect and appreciation to you for hosting this ceremony to pray for peace for so many years, continuing to work toward the realization of a world without nuclear weapons. On August 9, 1945, the city of Nagasaki was devastated by a single atomic bomb. And by the end of that year, around 150,000 people were either killed or wounded. Those who narrowly escaped death, the Hibakusha, continue to suffer deep physical and mental wounds that will never heal. Despite this, the Hibakusha have resolved to never let another person on earth suffer as they have, by sharing their experiences and continuing to tell of the foolishness of war and advocate for the abolition of nuclear weapons. The Hibakusha continue these efforts solely to protect the people of the world and their future. However, as we mark today the 80th year since the bombing, we are approaching day by day an era without the Hibakusha. At the same time, confrontations and divisions are deepening around the world. And there is the growing risk that another nuclear weapon may be used. Amid these trends, it is critical that we make use of the momentum gained by Nihon Hidankyo's, Japan Confederation of A and H bomb sufferers organizations, awarding of the Nobel Peace Prize by firmly passing the baton from the Hibakusha to people around the world, beyond generations and borders. In this respect, I believe that it is deeply meaningful when those from outside of the atomic bombing sites take the initiative in this way to place their thoughts with those who lost their lives in the atomic bombings and pray for peace. I expect that this ceremony will serve as an opportunity to spread peace far around the world. I hope that we may walk in solidarity together as important allies, sharing in this determination and firmly pass on the baton to the next generation. Shiro Suzuki, Mayor of Nagasaki City.
Thank you so much to our Deputy Managing Director and to Steve for the English translation. I'd like to invite another member of our Honolulu Nagasaki Committee to join me now, that is Jose Barzola with Peacebuilding Initiatives, to share a short background on the Nagasaki Peace Bell and his pop-up exhibit in the back of the room. Immediately following our indoor ceremony, as you've heard, we will venture outside for part 2, where everyone will have the opportunity to ring this Nagasaki Peace Bell. Welcome, Jose.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being here and sharing this collective time together. I just want to honor that, how we've all come together. Now we continue to do that as the days go on. My name's Jose Barzola. I'll share a little bit about, in the back there's an exhibit that was Building a Nuclear-Free World from 2 years ago that I put together in collaboration with various folks in Japan. There's actually another exhibit right now at the Hamilton Library at the University of Hawaii at Manoa that's going till the end of October, called Shadows of the Future, the Nuclear Impact on Children. So I hope you continue to dig deeper into the impacts, the ongoing impacts that nuclear weapons have caused our many generations and continue to. But I'm here to read you a little bit about the background of the Nagasaki Peace Bell. The Nagasaki Peace Bell is a gift to the people of the city and county of Honolulu, from the survivors of the atomic bombing of Nagasaki and their supporters, recognizing that true steps to peace must begin with acknowledgement of harmful actions. In the past, the survivors in Nagasaki wished to make a gesture of reconciliation to the people of the city of Honolulu, which sustained a military attack by their country on December 7, 1941. Working through the organizing efforts of the Congress Against Atomic and Hydrogen Bomb Committee of Nagasaki and the Nagasaki Prefecture Hibakusha Membership Association, these victims became a lengthy process of raising funds and negotiating with the mayor and the City Council of Honolulu for acceptance and placement of the Peace Bell Monument at a location acceptable and appropriate for the general public. Through mutual efforts, the city's citizens groups in both cities saw the success of the project in the dedication ceremony, which took place on December 7, 1990 on the grounds near the City Hall, Honolulu Hale, when the Peace Bell was rung for the first time to the great satisfaction of the delegation of 60 or more of the Nagasaki Hibakusha in attendance. Since 1990, the bell has been sounded on August 9th of the year, and on the day of observing the birthday of the American peacemaker and promoter of nonviolence, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Additionally, it has become the site of observance of important occasions in the continuing struggle to end the production and use of nuclear weapons. There are 2 other Peace Bell monuments of the same design, which were given to the city of Leningrad, now once more St. Petersburg, Russia, and to a city in Manchuria, which felt the brunt of the Japanese military action. In 1996, the Japanese Hibakusha reaffirmed their commitment to the spirit of the bells by sending each of the 3 cities a gift of $10,000 for the maintenance of the monuments. At the base of the monument is a plaque inscribed with the following message: Nagasaki, the city devastated by the bitter tragedy of a nuclear bomb, dedicates this Nagasaki bell as a symbol of the rebirth of Nagasaki and the desire of its citizens for peace in the future through sincere reconciliation and reflection on the follies of war. As I read this, I'm just reminded of the power of community coming together. It's something that has consistently been something in my own life. And so I just think no one should hopefully ever have to feel alone. Just think about whether it's your lineage, your ancestors, who was the village that, lend you something so that you could be here today, to get those steps that you've moved on throughout life. So I think that is the power of community, and that's why I truly a lot of the focus of what I love to do is about building collaborative communities and not forgetting how we're so much better together, collaboratively, as opposed to individually. And if we really just make time to talk to each other, we'll learn. We actually have more in common than we may think initially. So thank you so much for being here.
And we thank you, Jose, for your very informative presentation and your call to action for community and connection. Before we continue the program, I want to confirm or inquire whether there are any elected officials that have made their way into the room that wish to be recognized or to offer remarks at this time. Those of you who joined us yesterday at the state capitol, it was standing room only. We had the opportunity to hear from our governor, we received a message from our congresswoman and several state representatives as well. So we thank them for their continued dedication and commitment to honoring these important commemorations. We are very fortunate today to have many stars among us. Individuals have flown from Japan and from Geneva and other destinations nationally and internationally to contribute to our milestone 80th commemoration program today. Among them, coming to the stage now, we have Miwa Maipala Nakamura, a distinguished soloist who is here to share her message of peace through song. Please enjoy Sadako and the Thousand Cranes. The lyrics for this, a peace crane. The lyrics are also available at the link and online.
Aloha, my name is Mira. Aloha. Sadako was only 2 years old. On that day, the atom bomb exploded in a sea of fire all around. Mother found her baby on the ground. Black rain fell mixed with tears as they fled, filled with fear. この祈りを聞いて翼を広げ平和の ずる私たちの夢を乗せてSadako grew up a happy child. For her friends she always had a smile. But a silent sickness grew within her from the day the bomb exploded near her. Now she falls to the floor 10 years after the war. この祈りを聞いて翼を広げ平和の千羽鶴私たちの夢を乗せて Gracefully she tries to hide the pain As her fingers fold the paper crane Folding cranes until her final hour As she prays for life with all her power Sadako, rest in peace Help us to bring world peace この祈りを聞いて翼を広げ平和の千羽鶴私たちの夢を乗せて Thank you so much マハロヌイはありがとうございました
The lyrics, again, listen to this prayer, spreading its wings. 1,000 paper cranes of peace. Paper cranes, they surround us today, carrying our dream. Mahalo, Miwa. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you so much, Miwa, for journeying to be with us and to share. The program continues. So at this time, a very special mahalo in advance, and thank you to our extraordinary panel of experts who will join us now to share and offer some commentary on current nuclear challenges or crises. Now, those of you who have attended the series or joined us either in person or virtually at the Capitol yesterday afternoon have already been moved by their messages of clarity, of history, and hope for the future. This presentation, along with the others, were live streamed and are being live streamed and recorded so that you can share them. But at this time, I invite you to please join me in welcoming our most esteemed speakers. We'll begin with Audrey Kitagawa, President and founder of the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Okay, Brent, can we just adjust this a little bit more up? Okay, great. Thank you. So thank you so much, Stefani. Thank you all and everyone here and internationally who are tuning in to this program today. You know, the bomb that was detonated over Nagasaki 80 years ago was the last nuclear bomb ever used in warfare. And it must remain the last time ever in our history that we bring such death and destruction to our fellow human beings and to our environment. We are living in an existential moment, and we are here in remembrance of those whose lives were sacrificed and to honor those who survived the Hibakusha, who have endured pain and suffering from the effects of the radiation, lost loved ones, faced discrimination, and in so many ways suffered utter misery as a result of the bomb, and yet became lifelong advocates for peace. Last year, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Nihon Hidankyo, and the group was honored for demonstrating through witness testimony that nuclear weapons must never be used again. They have contributed greatly to the establishment of the nuclear weapons taboo and a world where no nuclear weapons have been used in war for 80 years. The Nobel Peace Prize was a deeply significant recognition of the Hibakusha's tireless, selfless efforts to abolish nuclear weapons. Today, there are fewer than 100,000 Hibakusha who still are alive in Japan, and their average age is over 85 years. They have been such powerful advocates for peace, to whom we all owe a great debt of gratitude. We must now take on the responsibility to continue their legacy, share their stories, and become advocates for a world without nuclear weapons. We today and for future generations to come have a collective interest in building and sustaining our well-being and security in ways that will allow us to flourish rather than to cower in fear of catastrophic death and destruction of ourselves and our environment. We need to continue to take a moral and ethical stand until no nuclear weapons are left. And we need to tap into that creative part of ourselves to find solutions to the problems that we as human beings have made. And along this journey, we must equip ourselves with proper values and codes of conduct and develop the heart of compassion and caring for others. In 2017, when the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to ICANN, Hibakusha Setsuko Thurlow was asked to co-deliver the Peace Prize lecture in Oslo. Mrs. Thurlow appealed to the leaders of nuclear-armed nations, asking them to listen to our testimony, heed our warning, and know that your actions are consequential. You are each an integral part of a system of violence that is endangering humankind. Let us all be alert to the banality of endangering humankind and of evil that exists. And she said, in remembrance of the victims, each person had a name. Each person was loved. Let us ensure their deaths were not in vain. I want to end with the following poem by David Lorimar, himself a very elevated soul. And he said, We are here to love and not to hate, to seek the paths of peace, not war, to forgive and not to avenge, to learn deep lessons of life from each other. We are here to learn the laws of love, the laws of wisdom, the laws of truth, the laws of justice, the laws of goodness, the laws of beauty, and the laws of freedom. We are here to learn the practice of kindness, the practice of compassion, the practice of empathy, the practice of trust, the practice of reconciliation. We are all here for each other, entwined with the whole of life, with animals, with birds, here for a short time together, here to awaken, here to be, here to act together. May we always remember that our lives must be lived with purpose and meaning, and that there is no higher purpose than to awaken to the reality of who we are as spiritual beings, beings of light and love. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Kitagawa. We extend our most sincere gratitude to you. In fact, why don't we do another mahalo at the count of 3 as she takes her seat? 1, 2, 3. Mahalo. It's been such a pleasure to spend this time with you. I remember in the early years and during the pandemic, we were all online, and we were blessed by your presence then. I had the pleasure of serving in this capacity. For those who are watching online, we had bells in our Zoom boxes, so it's not too late for you to grab a bell and plan to join us in an hour and ring on your screen. You could probably do it virtually or with AI these days too. So we extend our thanks to you, President Kitagawa, and your team for investing your time and talent and treasure again into this 80th commemoration. You've made it so special for us this year, so thank you. Moving right along, we are privileged to hear now from Rory Daniels. Rory serves as the Managing Director of the Asia Society Policy Institute. Thank you and your family for being here as well.
Well, hello, everyone. Good morning. As was said, I'm Rory Daniels. I'm the Managing Director of the Asia Society Policy Institute, where I've spent well over a decade in international policy, working on the unofficial negotiations between the United States and major nuclear powers, particularly focused on East Asia and the North Korean nuclear issue. I'm very grateful to be here today. We're meeting on this solemn occasion to remember not only the devastating cost to human life of using an atomic weapon, but also the responsibility that we as Americans have to humanity, having created an existential threat to our planet and our way of life, to ensure that these weapons are never used again. Unfortunately, we're also meeting at a time where the risk of a nuclear attack is rising, and the people of Hawaii know this risk all too well, having had the history of the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor that ultimately led to the events that created the atomic weapon, and having been jolted again several years ago by a false alarm predicting an imminent nuclear attack. I'm here to tell you today that though it may be challenging, there is a path back to managing our differences responsibly and safeguarding the world for our children, grandchildren, and future generations. This path may be challenging, but it's hardly naive. It's based on the tools of conflict management and global order that, when applied throughout history, have underpinned peace, prosperity, and progress. And it starts with taking responsibility. In fact, in the aftermath of the devastation on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the end of World War II, the United States did something absolutely extraordinary. The US, having emerged from the war victorious and strong, the most powerful country in the world, but determined to ensure that such destruction never happened again, set up institutions to manage differences and conflict through rules and dialogue in venues like the United Nations. It extended protection over vulnerable countries, our US allies and partners. The United States voluntarily restrained its own power in order to promote a world order responsible to universal values and common interests, rather than using its power coercively to advance its own interests at the expense of others. That spirit of cooperation and vision of global leadership is what truly made and makes America great. Because true greatness is not found in because true greatness is only found in devoting oneself to a cause greater than oneself. America has done this before, and we can do it again. We can lead the world to a future free of nuclear weapons, and it's up to us, as citizens of this country and citizens of democracies around the world, to hold our elected leaders to account, to pressure these officials to approach international conflict with humility, to listen, not to lecture, and to remember that as the most powerful country on earth, we are not a victim of the very system we created to share our universal values, peace, and prosperity with the rest of the world. We don't need to, and we probably never will, come to full agreement with our adversaries on the range of differences between us, but we can and should resolve to manage those differences through dialogue and approach those discussions with strategic empathy, recognizing that though we have the most powerful military on earth, a fact that we can all be proud of, we should at the same time recognize and respect that we can be and often are perceived as a threat. Strategic empathy is not capitulation. Negotiation is not giving in to other people's interests. It's simply the best path forward to ensure that we can manage our differences responsibly. Our elected leaders will tell you that we can only achieve peace through strength, and I agree. But the strength that we need to achieve peace is not the strength of how many weapons and how many threats we can bear on the rest of the world. It is the strength of our convictions to the rule of law, to democracy, to universal values that create the compassion necessary to live in a world that resolves threat through dialogue, and I hope you will all join us in those efforts. Mahalo, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rory, for that very important call to action and invitation. And now, last but not least, on this portion of our program, welcome Jonathan Granoff, President of the Global Security Institute.
Our national anthem ends with a question. Does that Star-Spangled Banner still stand? Are we free? Are we brave enough to grasp this moment? Are we humble enough to ask for help? So I've written something to ask for help, because we all need a little help. Last use. No more Hiroshima, no more Nagasaki. That Nagasaki be the last use of a nuclear weapon. That nuclear weapons never be used again. Oh God, bless and guide us. To eliminate these devices, the apex of creative evil, and all devices of massive, indiscriminate death. Please guide us. Each of us came into this world responding to our mother's love. Each came seeking family and love. Each of us became identified with nation, race, gender, religion, and forgot we are one human family, and every person is as precious as we are. But still, in the stillness of our hearts remains a light, the light of the soul that is seeking, resonating, and longing for that love that brought us here into this world. We remember that love deep in our souls. That love awakens and informs our universal humanity and awakens hearts without borders. Intelligence has given us insights into the wondrous secrets of matter, energy, space, and time. Fear, ignorance, arrogance, pride, hatred, and differences have led us to use these insights of intelligence to create devices of incomprehensible power to inflict indiscriminate, horrific suffering on each other. Please, dear Lord of all, of every created living being, of every heartbeat, of every moment, of every breath, of every leaf of grass, and every one of us, and universes and galaxies beyond comprehension and counting. Glorious source of love and light, forgive us, forgive all of us for forgetting you and your infinite blessings that you bestow on us. Friend within all friendship, love within all loves, life within all lives, witness of all and everything, bless us with the wisdom that comes from compassion, that can guide us to utilize intelligence and skillfully eliminate these devices of death, and use this gift of intelligence to serve, to heal, sustain, harmonize, understand, and glorify you, our humanity, and honor your creation. To end the suffering of poverty, to protect nature, to love one another, remove ignorance from our hearts. Grant us hearts of gratitude, courage, conviction, clarity, hope, and love, that such we will not falter in bringing peace, justice, beauty, and unity to your human family. Help us eliminate these devices of death and the motives from which we create them. Guide us in beautiful ways, ways of peace, such that we can be witnesses to your glory, to your compassion. Guide us with kindness so that we can become fully human and recognize the preciousness of every human birth. All praises are to you, the giver of life, the giver of grace, and the giver of everything. Amen.
And thank you so much, President Granoff. That concludes our commentary on current nuclear challenges or crises. By show of hands, before we continue, how many of you in the room or online using your virtual hand or comments in the chat either learned something new or inspired by those commentary presentations and or accept the invitations and call to actions that were issued by our speakers? Thank you. Thank you. We are truly grateful to each of you for taking the time to travel here and to deliver such important and timely messages. The next portion of our program is near and dear to my heart. We're going back to education. And many of us who you are hearing from today are educators. Those of us who are here locally, some are affiliated with the Spark Matsunaga Institute for Peace at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and in other capacities as well. And so our next speaker, who wears many hats and travels the world as a global human rights peacemaker, as an educator, and as an advocate, is none other than Joshua Cooper. And Professor Cooper will be followed by two students, including one from Nagasaki, who I'll introduce in a moment. But his presentation is titled International Human Rights Law and Island Liberation for a Planet of Peace, United Nations at 80, and Our Collective Future of Courage and Compassion. Thank you, Joshua, for being here with us.
Aloha, it's an honor to be here today. And when we think why we're gathering, we can't forget. This day, 80 years ago, 40,000 lives ended in a flash. Tens of thousands died later from the radiation. It goes to the point that would the decisions we make on a daily basis matter that much. And we all have a moral responsibility to stand up in solidarity for one another and make sure that the world lives that message of San Francisco, of never again. The sad part is there are moments when we lapse, and we have to make sure that we remind each other. And one of the ways of talking about peace sometimes is that there's positive and negative. There is peace. There can't be peace if people are hungry. There can't be peace if people don't have their basic needs. And sometimes that's an important part of human rights. Human rights allows us to measure how we're doing. There's a set of rules and laws. And in 1945, what was also important, as Rory brought up, was the United Nations was created. They met in San Francisco, and they said, never again to a Holocaust. And they said, what do we do? And they said, we create two things. One is a set of tools for people to be able to stand up and defend themselves if a government has gone rogue and is in the wrong direction, embracing fascism and hatred and moving against one another. And until, though, that group fights and stands up for itself with those human rights, that's that tool belt. Freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of assembly, freedom to vote, make all those differences. It was important. It said everyone, everywhere on earth is born with these rights. Governments don't grant them to us. We have these rights when we're born, but we have to work and exercise those muscles to make sure they work, and we haven't been exercising that much. Human rights is a great way to measure how we're doing. It's to check your A1C1. Ooh, number's a little high. If we see what's going on, our numbers are a little high in hatred, a little high in not treating one another with dignity and respect that we all have. And that's why human rights was important. But also said at the UN Charter that we all must work together. And if we don't stand up for someone else, eventually it'll happen to us. And everybody remembers that Niemöller quote of they came for someone and I didn't do anything. They came for someone and I didn't do anything. When they came for me, no one was left to stand up for me. We must stand up for one another every day. And that's why human rights is important. And when I look back at just where I was at, we celebrated and commemorated the UN 80th anniversary in San Francisco. For 20 years, we've actually created a program there. And that was important in San Francisco. Number one, though, this isn't anything new. It's unfortunately what too many people in the world have faced. It's also, August 9th is also World Indigenous Peoples Day. That was the first day in 1982 Indigenous peoples went to Geneva and all came together to say, whoa, the world's going the wrong way. And we have a way, but will you listen? Very importantly. And we were there in San Francisco to commemorate the 20th anniversary of just UNA organizing there. And we're there at the Fairmont Hotel. What was so important is the reason they created the UN was because the League of Nations didn't work. And it didn't work because one country didn't join. Star Spangled Banner. And so that's an important fact. So the U.S. invited 42 civil society, church, spiritual groups, community to speak about the ʻOhana and share what matters. So they went home and said, nothing to fear. It's important. We're one nation, one world. We all have to unite together. That was significant. Those 42 NGOs are now millions of people who make everything happen. They're the civil society that makes it work. The next thing I went to was the UN Human Rights Committee. UN Human Rights Committee is very important. A lot of things I can say briefly, but number one, Article 6 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the right to life. It has a new general comment, number 36. And what it mentioned and cited, it talked about nuclear abolition. And that's absolutely crucial because what the UN is just a continuation, as Manu said, of the conversation to get to where we all need to go. And it also can be amended because we have a lot of new problems that we have to say. And unfortunately, I wish those were the last nuclear weapons that were ever dropped. But more were dropped on indigenous peoples in the Marshall Islands, our brothers and sisters to the north of Oceania, and Moana Nui Akea, and Aboriginal peoples in Australia, and different indigenous peoples all over the planet. And so we have to stand up now together to make sure it never happens to anyone and know how all of our lives are interconnected. And that is why I'm here today to share that on World Indigenous Peoples Day. We need to know there's another way. And there's many opportunities. One is the Universal Periodic Review, the upper. The U.S. will be reviewed on November 7th. I do hope we show up. If we don't, though, we'll have a People's UPR. And what we've done with different nuclear abolitionists is we've organized to bring together human rights, nuclear abolition, and climate justice all together. And we can also look at what we've done. It's so exciting if you see what's going on with indigenous peoples because they have the voice, the values, and the vision for what we need. We need to listen. And the last part I would like to say is, I know everybody's probably a little tired today because you've been up all night watching Chief of War, Momoa moments. I see everybody's exhausted. You know, everybody's like, where's Zamboanga? But we need to all be chiefs of compassion, chiefs of courage, chiefs of creativity, and chiefs of cooperation to stand together for the world that we want. And we know that that's the way that we can go, and we can do that together. And I know that's what's so important. So it's education, mobilization, realization. And you can't forget, the climate crisis is the new crisis, but it's the one that we face in the Oceania first. And we have to understand that climate emergency has to be addressed. Because now you even have the International Court of Justice case that also recognized nuclear abolition and those important issues. But now we're getting to the crux of what's going on. There's the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Now there's the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty. Because if we don't do something about the climate, not only will we all be impacted, but we'll be just who's next. And we can't forget, because I've been in Maui for the last 2 years, 102 people dying because of something we could all avoid. We have to take this climate crisis. It's the latest challenge of nuclear and all the others, but it's all interconnected. And that's why peace and human rights is the same coin. And we can't toss it and hope it works. We have to spend our lives every day making sure that we can make that difference. So it's education, mobilization, realization. And I look forward to doing that with all of you for the rest of my life here in Hawaii, but also throughout Moana Nui Akea. Because when we see what's going on around us, we definitely have a 4-letter word that pops into our mind all the time. For me, though, my new 4-letter favorite word is Fiji. Fiji, though, because they are organizing. We have our superpower, which is aloha, but they also have bula. Fiji reminds me of Hawaii growing up, when I grew up in Waianae in the 70s. It's where we're all together. And so that's what we need to do. We need to stand up with one another and choose aloha and note the abundance that's possible. Mahalo.
So a lot was said there that I don't want to skip over. And I do want to thank you, Joshua, for your role as Chief Sustainability Officer in the County of Maui. Thank you for grounding us in the commemoration of today as Indigenous Peoples Day. But we also want to take a moment as we prepare to hear from our students to remember the critical and important anniversary of the Lahaina fires, which was just yesterday, and you've flown in from Maui to be here with us today. So let's hold the memory of those individuals in our hearts as we continue the program. And also just to plug, in the preamble to the Sustainable Development Goals, the Secretary General made a very critical plea that's often overlooked. When we talk about climate change, he indicated that we are indeed quite possibly the first generation that has the opportunity to address this critical crisis, but also the last. And as I look at some of the young children here, I'm very present to the responsibility that we have, not only to pursue a nuclear-free world, but one that's climate responsible as well. So thank you so much for your remarks. And we are thrilled at this time to be welcoming our first student, a high school student. Kasu High School, are you with us? Mariko?
Okay.
A little bit of a live stream delay. Go ahead, Mariko. Please continue to speak.
Good morning. I am Mariko Motokawa from Nagasaki City, Japan. This year is the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing, and our wish for peace is stronger than ever because of many people now suffering from wars and conflicts. Nagasaki and Hawaii have a connection. The torpedoes used to attack Pearl Harbor were built at the Nagasaki Mitsubishi Weapons Factory. Approximately 2,400 people, including women and children, lost their lives. Japan's attack led the U.S. into World War II, and that cannot be repeated. The U.S. dropped atomic bomb has a special meaning. Our peace efforts have been going on for many years with the slogan, "No more Nagasaki." It is our responsibility to pass on our experiences and memories and to explain about the inhumanity of nuclear weapons and the tragedy of war. The U.S. has a slogan called "Remember Pearl Harbor." But all of us must not forget the pain of war, and we must seek a peaceful world together. We must learn about each other's history and try to understand other people as an important step toward building peace. Compilation. It is not easy to achieve peace. Countries have different languages, cultures, and values, so conflicts sometimes happen. But I believe the key is how we manage our conflicts. We cannot build lasting peace if we only give our opinions and not listen to the voices of others. We must respect other opinions and positions and create mutual understanding through the honest exchange of ideas. I feel that type of dialogue is a path to lasting peace. The future world will be built by a generation that never heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor or the atomic bomb on Nagasaki or Hiroshima. We, as agents of peace, have a responsibility to pass on this history collectively. I pray that the nations of the world will seek peaceful relationships based on understanding, cooperation, and not confrontation. Thank you.
Aloha. Aloha. My name is Yumi Saito, and I'm a recipient of a graduate certificate in conflict resolution at the Matsunaga Institute of Peace, and I'm a PhD student in educational foundations at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. First, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Joan Tachibana, who has organized this annual Nagasaki Peace Ceremony, and to all the staff and volunteers whose tireless efforts make this event successful. I chose to pursue my PhD because of its strong commitment to multicultural understanding, social justice, and colonial education. Last year, I had an opportunity to visit Nagasaki to learn about the impact of nuclear weapons. This journey reaffirmed for me the profound importance of dignity of life and deepened my determination to work toward the abolition of nuclear weapons. My passion for peace is rooted in a declaration calling for the abolition of nuclear weapons, delivered by Josei Toda, the second president of the Soka Gakkai, on September 8, 1957. In a speech before over 50,000 youth at Yokohama Mitsuzawa Stadium in Japan, President Toda expressed his deep faith in the power of young people, believing that the future would be shaped by them. Toda states, quote, "I wish to declare that anyone who ventures to use nuclear weapons, regardless of nationality or whether the country is victorious or defeated, should be sentenced to death without exception." Why do I say this? Because we, the citizens of the world, have an inviolable right to live. Anyone who jeopardizes that right is a devil incarnate, a fiend, a monster, unquote. Although President Toda was a strong opponent of the death penalty, his call for it expressed his profound moral outrage. It reflected his unwavering stance against those who would violate the supreme value of life's inherent dignity. The third president of Soka Gakkai, Daisaku Ikeda, shared Toda's legacy with people around the world. He continued writing The Human Revolution, a novel begun by Toda to convey the true history and spirit of peace. Ikeda states, quote, "A great human revolution in just a single individual will help achieve a change in the destiny of a nation and further will cause a change in the destiny of all humankind," unquote. The human revolution represents the fundamental process of inner transformation, achieved through continuous efforts to improve oneself. This inner change leads to positive transformation in one's life and contributes to peace and the dignity of all people in society. It is vital that leaders and every citizen begin by creating peace within our own hearts. Nuclear weapons are the actualized symbol of devilish functions, a monstrous force born from the human heart. Now, more than ever, we must engage in our own human revolution, cultivating inner peace for others so that we may build a safer and more peaceful society from our respective place. 80 years of nuclear weapons are enough. It is time to say enough is enough and take actions for the sake of all humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to both of you and to all the students who have participated in these series of conversations, both in person and online. The next portion of our program is designed to inspire peace through understanding and interfaith collaboration. As the time draws near, I want to point out that I will kindly note we're going to pause at 11:02 a.m. to honor those whose lives were lost and impacted by the tragedy. And then we will resume the interfaith messages. If I have to interrupt, I apologize in advance, but we will resume and pick up where we've left off when that time comes. Now, of course, if this were a conference, each of our guest speakers could offer a keynote address. However, we ask you to indulge us as we ensure to maintain our time limits in preparation for the bell ringing ceremony and to get through some of these before the 11:02 local time. So as we prepare to hear our first interfaith speaker, I'd like to invite you to listen to each message and consider for yourself as you're listening, what does peace mean to you, to your generation, and how can you share what you're hearing today as you embody it and who you are and how you show up in the world and the communication that you have with others as we prepare to leave. Our first interfaith message is going to come from Bishop Toshiyuki Umitani with the Hongpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii.
I'd like to begin with a short Buddhist chant, followed by the aspiration. 부조 미다如来 入道場 삼계라 부조釈迦 如来 入道場 삼계라 부조 집보 如来 入道場 삼계라. The Amida Tathagata, out of boundless compassion for beings lost in the defilements of this world, stood up and raised inconceivable vows, fulfilled the sacred practice of embracing and never abandoning a single being, and established the pure land of peace and bliss. This compassionate calling of the Buddha as the sacred name Namo Amida Butsu resounds throughout the 10 directions. The Buddha continues to call out to us, guiding all who wander in the darkness of ignorance. And yet this world of the 3 realms is like a burning house, ever impermanent. Our human ignorance and foolishness are deeply rooted, consumed by desires for fame, gain, and pleasure. We ignite flames of anger and fall into endless conflict. We harm ourselves, we harm others, and the cycle does not cease. 80 years ago, the atomic bomb was dropped on the city of Nagasaki. In a single instant, beautiful streets and homes were reduced to ash, and countless precious lives were lost. Many lost their families, their homes, and endured unimaginable pain. How deep, how unbearable their sorrow must have been. The cries born from that suffering, the tears shed in that grief, reach us today as a silent yet powerful plea for peace. Shakyamuni Buddha taught, hatred is never ended by hatred. Hatred is only ended by love. All beings are interconnected, sharing in the great web of life. The path that destroys others is the path that ultimately destroys oneself. The path that allows others to live is the path on which we too are truly brought to life. These timeless truths we must now more than ever take deeply into our hearts. In this time of division and conflict, may each of us gathered here today listen closely to these voices, receive the aspirations of our predecessors who longed for a world of tranquility and harmony, and strive together to create a society in which all may live in mutual support and true peace. Let us walk forward together for those who came before us, for those who live among us today, and for those who are yet to be born. With humble hearts, I'd like to offer this aspiration. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
The time is now 11:01. Let us prepare for a moment of silence as we reflect on the tragic bombing of Nagasaki. As we approach the exact moment the bomb fell over Nagasaki, I will now ask all who are able to rise and observe a moment of solemn silence. In Nagasaki, on the 9th day of each month, the Nagasaki Peace Bell is rung in their Peace Park, commemorating the deadly atomic bomb of 1945, 80 years ago. It's 11:02. Thank you. May this silence speak the words that history cannot. You may take your seats. And now I'd like to invite Emily Vigliamo, representing the Church of the Crossroads, for a Christian message of peace.
Thank you all for coming to this important August 9th Nagasaki commemoration event. My name is Emily Vigliamo, or Bidiermo-san, and I'm the daughter of Valdo and Francis Vigliamo. My father was a professor of Japanese literature at UH Manoa for over 30 years. And in case you're wondering, no, I'm not Japanese. My father was a World War II veteran, the son of extremely poor Italian immigrants. He enlisted at 18. Due to his incredible aptitude with languages, he attended the Army's Japanese language school. First, he was sent to the University of Pennsylvania, and then he participated in the U.S. occupation in Tokyo. There, he worked as a translator, and he witnessed the horrible aftermath of war. The death and destruction that was caused by his own government led him to dedicate the rest of his life to peace. He met my mother in college. She was raised in Panama and spoke fluent Spanish. My brother was born in New Jersey, and I am a Doko. I was born in Tokyo. My father took a sabbatical later when I was 7, and we returned to Japan for another year, and we attended public Japanese school, so I was very familiar with the uniform I saw Mariko wear. My father considered Christ to be the Prince of Peace. As a child, he brought me to the Church of the Crossroads, which is still my church today. Jesus called for people to end the policy of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. This especially relates to the relationship between Japan and the U.S. Americans often justify the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and say, well, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor first. No, nothing justifies the murder of thousands of innocent civilians. My father believed in peace, therefore, along with my mother, he worked for years to bring the peace bell to Honolulu. He also translated for several groups of the Hibakusha when they visited Honolulu. My father and mother believed that as Christians, we are called to help relieve the suffering of others. This is why they worked to bring the peace bell to Honolulu. It stands as a reminder of the suffering of the Japanese people. And I certainly hope no nation will have to suffer as Japan did on August 9, 1945. 日本人から本当にごめんなさい。本当にごめんなさい。どうもありがとうございます。
Thank you. And now we invite Molly's Ferry, representing the Hawaii's Bahá'í community, and sharing a message of peace on behalf of the Bahá'í. Welcome back.
Aloha mai kako. I'm honored to be here as part of this 80th anniversary commemoration. And I'm especially pleased to join the Interfaith messages, that portion of the program that blends our faith voices in a call for peace and a plea for divine assistance. It is vitally important that our diverse faiths stand up together, shoulder to shoulder, upholding the values that we hold dear and in common for the good of mankind. Is there a religion of God whose scriptures do not advocate for peace, love, compassion, justice, truthfulness, kindness, tranquility for all, and which does not admonish war, hate, and destruction? My ardent hope is that the unity of thought that we hear today will issue forth with the clarity of the bell that we are ringing. The inscription, that was accompanying the gift of the Nagasaki Peace Bell, which was already mentioned today in 1990, 35 years ago, was, it expressed the desire of the citizens of Nagasaki, a desire for peace through sincere reconciliation and the reflection on the folly of war, their words. Indeed, isn't that what we're manifesting today? Reconciliation and reflection. During World War I, Abdu'l-Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Bahá'í faith, clearly laid out the stark juxtaposition between war and peace when he wrote, "War is destruction, while universal peace is construction. War is death, while peace is life. War is rapaciousness and bloodthirstiness, while peace is beneficence and humaneness. War is darkness upon darkness, while peace is heavenly light. War is the destroyer of the edifice of mankind, while peace is the everlasting life of the world of humanity. War is like a devouring wolf, while peace is the angels of heaven. War is the struggle for existence, while peace is mutual aid and cooperation among the peoples of the world. The core of our religious beliefs, our consciences, our hearts indeed call for peace." And I'm going to close today with a simple charge from the Baha'i writings, which I've shared before on this occasion. Words that speak to the power of thought that we as individuals can exert. I charge you all that each one of you concentrate all your thoughts, all the thoughts of your heart on love and unity. And when a thought of war comes, oppose it by a stronger thought of peace. A thought of hatred must be destroyed by a more powerful thought of love. Aloha. God is most glorious.
Thank you, and thank you so very much to the Baha'i community for your support of our programs as well over these many years. I'd like to invite now Marabi Hashim Usman, representing the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, for a Muslim interfaith peace message.
Aloha and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of God be with you all. I'll begin with a short opening from the Holy Quran, the holy book of Muslims, I seek refuge with God from Satan the rejected. In the name of God, the most gracious, the ever merciful. All praise belongs to God, Lord of all the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, Master of the day of judgment. Thee alone we worship, and Thee alone we implore for help. Guide us to the right path, the path of those on whom you bestowed your blessings, not of those who incurred your wrath, and not those who went astray. My name is Hasham Usman. I serve as the Murabi of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community of Hawaii. We are those Muslims who believe in the promised Messiah and Mahdi, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, a reformer of this age. Our community began in 1889 in India. From there, we have spread the message of peaceful Islam all over the world. Today, we are here commemorating the bombings of Nagasaki and before it, Hiroshima. But as we are looking back at this time, we are also considering the time that we are living in, where every other day there seems to be a nuclear scare, that someone is going to press a button, and once again, there will be destruction much greater than the one that we witnessed in 1945. In 1945, there was a bombing on the 9th of August, and on the 10th of August, the second caliph of the promised Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad, he stated in his Friday sermon as he addressed the people, he said, "As far as humanity is concerned, destruction of this kind cannot be declared lawful. Is there anyone who can say that there were no women and children residing in the city which has been bombarded in this way? Although our voice may be of no value, it is our religious and moral duty to announce to the world that we cannot and do not consider such bloodshed as lawful. If the door to such a war is opened now, it will prove to be very dangerous for the world." This was his warning 80 years ago, the day after the city of Nagasaki was bombed. So when we talk about peace, we are careful. We're also worried that whether our voices will have any benefit, whether they will be heard, whether the people who are in power will hold their hands from causing and bringing this destruction to the world. Last year, the current head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad, while addressing the Peace Symposium in United Kingdom, he stated about the United Nations, the very institution that was created to make sure that that day does not come again. He stated that the United Nations has become weak and almost powerless body where a few dominant nations yield all the power and easily override the views of the majority. He said, instead of deciding each issue based on its facts and merits, nations have formed alliances and vote according to their self-interest. Let it be clear, therefore, that where a veto power exists, the scale of justice can never be balanced. In the Holy Quran, God Almighty states that, "O ye who believe, Be steadfast in the cause of God, bearing witness in equity, and do not let the enmity of a people incite you to act otherwise than with justice. Be always just, that is nearer to righteousness. So these are the commands and the message of peace that I wanted to deliver to you today, that let us hold fast to justice in a manner that God has taught us, where justice is not only for ourselves, but for all people, and never let the enmity of any people incite anyone to act then with justice. Mahalo. Thank you.
And now for a Jewish interfaith message of peace, presented by Roger Epstein, representing peace through forgiveness. Mahalo.
Thank you. Aloha. The prayer I'm going to chant now has been called the only true principle of Judaism. All the rest has been said to be just commentary on this principle. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And I translate this prayer to mean all those who struggle with the concept of spirituality, let's remember we're all connected to the universal energy that we all call God. And because of our connection to God, it's highly important element of the Jewish faith is forgiveness. And of course, forgiveness is what we're needing today in our discussion. I have been the facilitator of the Hawaii Forgiveness Project for over 20 years. Last summer, I had a conversation where the woman I was talking to said to me, "We Germans need forgiveness. We still feel shame and guilt for what happened in World War II." This resonated especially strongly with me because I was born on May 8th, 1945, which is the day that Germany surrendered in World War II. Starting from this discussion, we ended up with a 4-day conference in Frankfurt, Germany, where we talked about what we called ancestral healing. Over 90% of the people there were their ancestors were either Nazis or had been violated by the Nazis. So it was a very powerful program. We called it ancestral healing because we recognize that it's not just for the Germans. It's for all of us. We need to let go of all the negativity that's come through our ancestors and that we now are creating in our own lives. This Friday, August 15th, we're going to have an hour-and-a-half program, a Zoom program on ancestral healing, which is part of the Interfaith Awareness Week next week. And we're creating a variety of ancestral healing programs that we can use in different settings. I have been approached by some Japanese friends to talk about ancestral healing in 2 ways for them. One, because of what their ancestors did in the war, but secondly, because of what Americans did to the Japanese here in putting them into concentration camps. I'd like to close with one final thought. Forgiveness is not about letting go the perpetrator. Forgiveness is about the victim. Forgiveness is getting rid of, letting go of the anger in the past so that you can be in the present, which is the only moment anything ever takes place. And I want to quote from a very dear mentor and friend of mine, Jerry Jampolsky, who says, not forgiving is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. Thank you very much. Mahalo nui loa.
Thank you. Representing SGI USA, Soka Gakkai, Danny Nagashima.
Good morning. Aloha. Thank you so much. In the beginning, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to be able to participate in this significant, very powerful, and a beautiful ceremony. And I was listening beautiful speeches and prayers. I felt if we have this kind of gathering, every city, every community, I think we can stop. We can demolish nuclear weapons. Anyway, actually, my father was not Nagasaki, but he was from Hiroshima. And also, my uncle and cousin suffered from the bombing of the nuclear weapon. When I was a child, I saw my uncle's facial scarring and always felt sorry and angry. Why this kind of things happen, I wonder as a child. Also, my dear friend in college, Makoto, was also from Hiroshima. He had a wonderful personality, full of care, but had a leukemia. I know, second generation. From time to time, he wasn't able to attend the school because of this. After I graduated college, and he was able to marry, then later, he had to die with leukemia. I'm angry. I hated nuclear bomb. We have to demolish this weapon from this planet. In the world, there are over 12,000 weapons, nuclear weapons exist on this planet. The founder and the first president of our movement, Tsunesaburo Makiguchi, stood against the Japanese military. He died in prison because of his opposition to the war. This same spirit that Yumi was talking about, the second President Joseph Toda, who was also in prison, surviving his imprisonment, he determined to carry on in his mentor's wish, culminating with his declaration for the abolition nuclear weapon. Therefore, we SGI wholeheartedly, we appreciate, we support all of your initiative today. Daisaku Ikeda, our international president, and the humanitarians say, when human beings live together, conflict is inevitable. War is not. The idea that we're in conflict can be reinterpreted to mean we share a problem. A shared problem can best be met and resolved through shared efforts rather than facing off in confrontation. We should together turn to face our common future, united in the shared commitment to the welfare of our future, especially for our youth. And just, I have an unlimited appreciation for participating this ceremony. So someone all united in the behind the scene prepared this ceremony. I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation, and also I know from Japan, Nagasaki's delegation, let's have, Hawaiian big hand to all those people, created this ceremony. Thank you so much.
And we thank you so very much as well for your contributions. Finally, friends, we welcome back Kahu Leticia Ku'ulinani Castellanos for the Love, Peace, and Harmony message.
Aloha mai kako.
Aloha.
I'm very honored to be here today and want to express my deepest gratitude to all of you standing in your power. Those of you who are present, those who have joined us globally, mahalo for standing in your power to bring peace and love to Mother Earth, to humanity, and to all souls. As we are all one. What happens to one happens to us all. So mahalo. On Saturday, September 10th, 2005, a special soul song was given to my spiritual father and teacher, Dr. and Master Jigang Sha. It was given to him by our divine creator. It was given to him to support his mission to bring love, peace, and harmony to the world. This special soul song carries the highest vibrational, dimensional light field to help humanity, to help Mother Earth with all of our challenges that we face today. Today, I come to you with Hawaiian and Chinese ancestors who stand with me today in love, in peace, and in harmony. And I sing to you this divine soul song, first in English, in Mandarin, then in Hawaiian. I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. Join hearts and souls together. Love, peace, and harmony. Love, peace, and harmony. Wo ai wo xin he ling. Wo ai tren ren lei. Wan ling rong he mu she shang. Xiang ai平安和谐，相爱平安和谐。Aloha iho au ko I ko pu'uwai a me ko uwai lua. Aloha I ka lehu e pilina pu'uwai a me na wailua o ka ko Me ka maluhia, me ka lokahi. Let us all bring love, peace, and harmony to our families, to Mother Earth, to humanity, and to all souls. I love you all. Mahalo piha.
Thank you to all of our interfaith speakers. We now turn our eyes to the screen for our closing keynote address. Dr. Masao Tomonaga was 2 years old when he was exposed to the atomic bomb in Nagasaki. He has long cared for atomic bomb survivors and is respected globally for his research on the long-term medical effects of the atomic bomb. Today, he will explain to us live from Nagasaki the medical effects of an atomic bomb. Thank you and welcome.
Hello, Hawaii and people of Honolulu. Aloha. I am Masao Tomonaga, president of Nagasaki Hibakusha Notebook Association. Today we are having 80th anniversary of Nagasaki atomic bombing of 1945, August 9. This was the second atomic bombing and detonation in the human history. I was a 2 years and 2 months old baby. One day before I got high fever due to acute tonsillitis. At 11:02 a.m., I was sleeping in a bed. Suddenly, huge blast wind attacked our wooden house, located 2.5 kilometers from the ground zero. The house was half broken and the roof touched the first floor. My mother was cooking our lunch in the first floor, so she rapidly tried to reach me on my bedroom and found her son was sleeping in bed under a narrow space below the roof. She took me out of bed and dashed to escape our house. She ran and ran to get nearby shrine. Our district near Nagasaki Station became burned out and got totally flat early next morning. We moved from Nagasaki to my mother's hometown, about 50 kilometers east. We were lucky by surviving in the midst of chaos. When I became a high school boy, leukemia and malignant blood disorders began to increase among children, followed by a rapid increase in adolescents. I myself felt anxious about suffering leukemia. I decided to become a medical doctor to learn and study radiation-induced leukemia. Fortunately, I grew up normal, and I have not suffered any malignant disease until age 76, when I myself made diagnosis of prostate cancer. I received radiotherapy for my cancer, and I am again a lucky person, now in a complete remission for 7 years. The 80 years of atomic bomb, Hibakusha, has been quite different between individual cases. Some suffer from leukemia, but others from solid cancers such as lung cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, and so on. Many died of radiation-induced malignant disease during their life. However, more than half Hibakusha could survive and spend healthy life. The reason why atomic bomb radiation-induced malignant diseases continued to occur in such a long term, namely lifelong period. Research Institute of Nagasaki University Medical School, where I have been professor of medicine for 40 years, recently discovered that the radiation in 1945 injured primitive organ cells in each organ, and gene abnormalities were then induced to produce pre-cancer cells. During a very long life of Hibakusha, such a primitive cell with genetic abnormalities steadily changed. Live
from Nagasaki. To close
Sorry.
the portion of our program, though not the end of the program,
So-
we'd like to invite you to turn your eyes now to Koko's Hula Sakura Girls Halau for a performance of the Bells of Nagasaki.
Sorry. Mute してるね。
Guess what? You have an opportunity to hear Dr. Tomonaga's speech now. Live, we
Oh.
received a pre-recording in the event of technical error, and so that recording will be played now and made available to all to hear what he had to say.
I'm Masao Tomonaga, Nagasaki Hibakusha, and also a doctor, physician. Hello, Hawaii and the people of Honolulu. We Hibakusha Notebook Association is grateful for your long continuation for ringing the Nagasaki bell we sent. This year, 2025, is 80 years anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing. Today, August 9, was Nagasaki bombing day. I was 2 years old, 2 years and 2 months old boy, encountered the world's second atomic bomb detonation at point 2.5 kilometers from the ground zero. I was a lucky boy, succeeded in escaping our crushed Japanese wooden house, which was burnt out within an hour. Next day, our family evacuated from Nagasaki City to nearby city Omura, my mother's hometown. I grew normally and became healthy survivor to be called Hibakusha. I spent 65 years working as a physician to take care of many Hibakusha who developed leukemia or cancer. Atomic bomb radiation exposure still causes malignant diseases. That means the lifelong effect of atomic bombing. I myself developed prostate cancer 6 years ago. Fortunately, it was well treated with newly invented therapy by carbon heavy beam irradiation. In the early period after atomic bombings, the first appearing malignant disease was leukemia. Many Hibakusha suffered from leukemia and almost all died. Leukemia gradually declined after 20 years, but now another leukemia-related elderly disease called myelodysplastic syndrome, abbreviated as MDS, is prevalent among the elderly Hibakusha. Solid cancers such as lung cancer, breast cancer also continue to occur among the elderly. This year, Hibakusha number became less than 100,000 in whole Japan. The number in 2045, that will be 100 years anniversary of the bombing, is calculated only a few hundred Hibakusha surviving as age 100 or more. In this year of 2025, the mean age of Hibakusha is now 86. I'm 82. It is amazing that these elderly Hibakusha still develop cancer and MDS. Our research reached the conclusion that atomic bomb radiation hit organ stem cells in 1945, and these stem cells survived long enough in each organ of Hibakusha and finally became cancer cells, developing various types of cancer. Regretfully, the nuclear age is still persisting now. World nuclear security getting worse since the Russian invasion to Ukraine. We Nagasaki Hibakusha still cannot stop nuclear abolition movement, wishing a realization of nuclear-free world in sake of whole global citizen on this earth. Let us ring 2 Nagasaki bells together, one in Hawaii and another in Nagasaki. Let us call for world peace from Hawaii and Nagasaki. Our next generation, namely present youth generation, should have a better world in future with much advanced nuclear disarmament, hopefully a nuclear-free world. Let us extend our solidarity in peace movement, especially to eliminate nuclear weapons. Thank you.
Indeed, we thank him for his work and for being here. And thank you, Steve, for bringing copies of his publication from Nagasaki to read and learn more. And now please turn your attention to Koko's Hula, Sakura Girls Allow, for a special performance of the Bells of Nagasaki Hula Dance.
このボリューム。いや、最大。
鎖に白き
What a beautiful transition to the second part of our program. Mahalo, thank you, and thank you all. So we have reached the point in our program where we will gather our belongings. Speakers and guests, you're invited to take and wear your sunflower lei as a gift from the UNA Honolulu chapter. And we're going to peace walk collectively and processional over to the Nagasaki Peace Bell, which is located just outside behind me. Kindly note, this is not the end of our program. In part two, you will have the opportunity to help ring that Nagasaki Peace Bell that you've been hearing about. And so for our online viewers, please hold tight, keep your eyes on the screen. We will resume with part two. And those who are here in Mission Memorial Hall, please follow the royal orders and designated volunteers' instructions to exit and walk together mindfully with reverence and intention, reflecting on all that we have heard this morning. We'll see you at the bell.
Can Lane asked if you could go to just the bell shot, I guess camera 2, and not split screen.
I've got it on one. You have your headsets on, Gary? Duffy's talking to you on the mic.
are.
Yes. And you hear the back, right? I don't hear anything because I'm not connected.
So Laura, she's taking a picture.
I'm not connected to audio. This is mic one, that's all I got. I'm sending this in. Who's this Zoom computer? It's right here. Susie.
You turned it off? And then you turned it off.
Black magic.
Here.
Inyo tatua ulu kane me kanaloa ulu o ia ko me kai e mai no I ko kua e abuela e vai ola e ola no Mahalo.
So you'll stay here, and I'd like to invite a number of our program participants to help place the lei on the Nagasaki Peace plaque led by Nagasaki Kinjinkai members under the leadership of Motoshiba, the Deputy Managing Director for City and County, if you'll join us, President Kitagawa, and our guests who have flown in for the ceremony this afternoon. Please turn your attention now to the plaque. Thank you. With that, we now begin the ceremonial ringing of the bell, led by the kahu, the deputy mayor, our speakers and distinguished guests, followed by all of our guests. That includes all of you. And if you have a bell online, we invite you to ring that too. So a few logistical notes about the ringing of the bell. After the kahu leads the first ringing, at least 3 to 4 people in small groups will work together, pull hard, and ring the bell approximately 3 times promptly. We'd like for everyone here to participate in the bell ringing, resonating waves of peace throughout Honolulu and across the ocean out to the world. Please note 2 things. 1, please limit conversation, particularly if you are anywhere near the audio devices that are streaming. We ask that you step aside if you need to engage in conversation during this time. And second, following the bell ringing, we will reconvene for our Love, Peace, and Harmony Circle and the singing of Hawaiʻi Aloha to close the program. Again, thanks for being here, and let us now commence the bell ringing ceremony.
Come on. Come on. They're the most important ones. Come on. Yes. Grab a piece of rope. Come on. Grab a piece of rope. Are you? Come on. Yeah, it's a family thing. Yeah. Okay. Ready? Hope. If there's peace on the rope, go ahead and grab a piece of rope. Yep. Yep. Hi. Cookie.
all of our behind-the-scenes volunteers, the Honolulu Nagasaki Peace Committee, please come ring the bell together. Jose, Ed, everyone who contributed, you know who you are. You're hiding. Sally, Steve, Motonobu, Shiba. I don't want to have to call out all these names. Thank you for your work. And we ask that you do the honor of David Stone. Yes, of course, with MOCA, the mayor's office. David, come. You've worked so hard.
Sally, come on.
Sally, Derek. These are the ones who've been uploading to the website, and
Steve left.
Steve left, okay. Sending emails and reminders, and all of our tech team, if they're members of the tech team who didn't have an opportunity, now is the time. President Kitagawa, why don't you come back up and join us? Thank you. A final ringing of the bell by those who made this moment possible for all of us here today.
Okay, come on, Trey.
Bandmaster, did you get a chance to ring? Would you like to ring as well? Bandmaster and our soloist, Kala'ai, who's going to be singing soon. Whoever can come on down from the band is welcome to join in this part of the ceremony as well.
Come on, Kala'ai. Let's see if you can reach a higher pitch than the bell.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, Kala'ai.
Come on, Zip.
All right. Come on.
That's right. So we have reached the end of the program, and we invite your participation one last time. Let's reach out together, stand up, and we're going to make a circle, a peace circle. And we invite you to hold hands. This is our circle of unity, hand in hand, led by our Royal Hawaiian Band, Master Clark Bright, and soloist Kala'ai Stern. Yeah, keep circling around the bell. Around the bell, so come on down. For those who are watching online, we thank you as well for standing in solidarity with us from Honolulu to Nagasaki and beyond, heart to heart. Now I issue my final mahalo now with Joanne just behind me. Thank you all so much for sharing this sacred time with us. After the song, we'll end our live stream, but the call to peace continues. To all who helped bring this day to life, some of whom you just saw ringing the bell, volunteers, organizers, musicians, speakers, cultural stewards, and all, thank you so much for your contributions. From Keiki to Kupuna, young to our elders, we're here now, hand in hand, just a few more to go. Your presence reminds us both of our responsibilities and our hope for the future. Take a look at the person beside you, and let's remind each other that we carry one another with us, and we appreciate each other for taking the time to be here today. One final announcement. There are additional programs, all of which have been live streamed and recorded and available through our websites. Please join us tomorrow, Sunday, August 10th, at the Jodo Mission of Hawaii at 10 a.m. If you'd like more information about that program in this series, you can also visit multiculturalcooperation.net events page. As we now join together, hand in hand, to sing, may peace not just be remembered, but indeed renewed. Let the sunflowers remind us to create a world that is free of nuclear weapons. Aloha, and until we meet again, Hawaii aloha.
Hawaiian